Hey everyone, it's Jason from Game-Rave.com, and this is Game-Rave TV. Let's get to it. In late 1998, the PlayStation was enjoying one hell of a good life, with titles such as Parasite Eve, Final Fantasy VIII, and Spyro the Dragon tearing up the retail charts. For hundreds of games that the system was already supporting, among all those genres, there was one peculiar genre that hadn't been fulfilled until 3 years after launch. Boxing. Electronic Arts would be the first company to enter the squared circle, beating Sony to the literal punch by only a few months. Their prize fighter Knockout Kings debuted with 38 fighters, including giants like Muhammad Ali, Oscar de la Hoya, Evander Holyfield, Sugar Ray Leonard, and more. The four mentioned fighters were also EA Sports exclusive licenses at the time of the release, meaning no one else could have them for the time being. Alongside the exclusive fighters, EA Sports also brought on several ringside guests as well, with Jimmy Leno Jr. for ring announcements, Al Albert and Sean O'Grady as the announcers, and the ever-amazing Mills Lane as your coach. So with an amazing cast of characters, how does the actual game hold up? For being their first try at the genre in the 32-bit era, Knockout Kings is fairly admirable in many of its nooks and crannies. Pushing through the crowd of real-world boxers into the main menu, the game offers up Slugfest, Exhibition, and Career Mode. We'll start with the first two, Slugfest and Exhibition Mode. The latter is exactly what you think it is. You pick a fighter, then let a friend or the computer pick a fighter, and you properly duke it out like gentlemen. Full rules, regulations, and penalties apply here, so if you throw a kidney punch, you're going to get yelled at or worse. Slugfest is for the Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat fans peeking in from the hallway. You may pick your fighters as usual, but the rules, rounds, and regulations are thrown out. You have 1 to 5 chances to get in as many hard knocks as possible, with the winner being determined by knockout or an undisclosed split decision. With sound effects and damage also cranked up for a more arcade-style presentation, Slugfest is a pretty fun and excellent break from the more technical aspects of the simulation side. As a bonus, the fighter you create for Career Mode can be uploaded into Slugfest along with your sparring partner's creation. It's a great way to practice in-game moves and get timing down, but we'll dive into that a little later in the video. Having just now mentioned it, let's discuss Career Mode. In full transparency, I started this review expecting to be bored out of my mind 3 fights in and just call it a night, but there's some pretty good meat on these bones here. You begin your career by first creating your boxer. That's right, it's you in the ring, not one of the featured ones. After a sparse set of characteristics to change, you're presented with your first pre-fight training session. There are 3 key stats to work out: power, stamina, and speed. Selecting the speed bag will boost speed and stamina, while choosing the hanging bag will upgrade the power and stamina. Once you're done watching the animation, it's off to the bottom of the fight list. Knockout King's Match Climb offers a nifty little touch here in that you can actually try and skip fights, the trade-off being less trading points to spend between rounds. If you win, you leapfrog ahead. If you fail, you tumble back down the standings. After each fight, you'll get a newspaper headline discussing your fate, as well as learning of at least one other boxer on the circuit. The fights through the standings continue until you finally reach the number 1 spot against the reigning champ. Here's where you'll face off against a real boxer, and if you win, the game really does treat you like the champ. Upon claiming the number 1 spot, other real-life boxers will challenge you to your position. The amazing difference here is that since you're the new champ, you now get the red corner as well as the cinematic walk-in animation to the ring. It's a hilariously awesome feeling the first time you see it, because it now means the game is playing against you, as if you were the final boss of the game. The broadcaster's comments will even change to call you the champ rather than just the nameless replies and observations they make. Once you take down the final challenge to your crown, you are officially crowned the world champ, and the game treats you to a behind-the-scenes film reel showing off Sugar Ray Leonard and Oscar de la Hoya playing the game at E3, as well as some gag reel type moments with the dev team. Here's where the things get really interesting. There is no Game Plus, and in reality, there's no game anything after you win. Your created character is permanently retired from Career Mode. They can be loaded into Versus Mode, but his days in competition are over. It's a unique take that forces the player to really start from scratch on their next playthrough, as well as open up creating a legion of different style boxers to upload into Versus Mode. So with those game modes in play, how do the actual parts of the game stand up? Diving into the graphics, Knockout Kings does a bang-up job here. Late 1998 was when developers were finally stretching the hardware into directions it didn't know it could go. Here we have large, well-detailed fighters complete with their matching shorts and color combinations. The few boxing rings included are all unique in their designs and help make the feel of rising up from the local street gym to Madison Square Garden that much more pure. Even your training room changes. There are also some amazing little touches that you wouldn't have thought to see in the first try of a new genre. The ring girls who announce the rounds actually change nationality each time you play, and if you knock out the opponent hard enough, you'll see their mouth guard go flying. There are also different referees based on how far up the ranks you are. During the fight, the contenders will actually take visible damage, including black eyes, cuts, and bleeding. The announcers will even make mention of them. These little attentions to detail make up for some more of the oddball design choices, like how the crowd humans are realistic looking and larger than the in-game characters. Overall, the graphics do a damn fine job, and if you're outputting your PlayStation through an upscaler, they're extremely clean. Sound is split between the voiceovers and the white noise, both of which do decent jobs. The announcers only have so many lines recorded, but they're recorded for every boxer and the champ and challenger designations. By the time you reach the championship fight, you'll have heard everything they have to say. Mills Lane, while awesome, sounds garbled when he's in the training room sequence. The punches sound fine, but if you're too used to Slugfest mode or even other actual fighting games, the lack of exaggeration in the hits throws off your timing and comprehension. I found myself constantly looking at the health bars to confirm my hits were actually landing. I know this is trying to be a simulation, but sometimes you need to do just a little bit more video game-like in the execution. Regretfully, the only place the game falters is in the actual control. The thumb buttons are a body punch, uppercut, and then square and circle act as your left and right hand. Using a shoulder button in combination with the thumb buttons can create combos, illegal hits, which are then combined with punches determined by your distance from the other boxer. Knockout Kings makes two mistakes here, and it costs the game a better ranking. First, the controls are a bit sluggish. Trying to change the stance feels like it takes days, while trying to find the right distance between you and the opponent takes more time than it should. Too often you'll find yourself just punching their elbows or watching the animation stop midway since it has nowhere to go. Second, the uppercut and body punch buttons are swapped for southpaw boxers, and they swap in real time if you change your stance. Nothing says confusing like trying to remember which way you're standing while looking at the health meter to see if the punch you threw actually even hit. It's not the end of the world, but in later fights I found myself really wishing the response was faster and that the buttons just didn't switch. In the end, it's another PlayStation game finished and all ready for its Game-Rave review score. In modern times, Knockout King's sluggish controls can be forgiven for the creative career mode and ability to pit your custom boxers against each other. While the latter would hardly be used in the present day, the former can't be denied. If you miss boxing games in your monthly feed, give Knockout Kings a shot. It ranks a solid 7 out of 10 on Game-Rave. Thankfully, it's also an easy snag, with one tiny problem if you're into variants. If you're shopping eBay, you can snag used copies for $5 or less. In some instances, the winning bidders even paid more for the shipping than they did the actual game. This is fantastic, since there are 5 different disc arts to the game. One features all 4 of EA's exclusive boxers, and then each of the 4 have their own disc. Blessedly, the manuals and inserts are all the same, so if you do go variant hunting and accidentally get a duplicate, a disc-only replacement can be used instead. None of them seem to be rarer than the other, so if you're looking for a full set, you'll spend about $20 to $30 shipped for all 5. Kind of knockout savings, you know? Alright, with that we wrap up another review and another episode of Game-Rave TV. As August comes to a close, so does summer, and that means fall weather and holiday releases. Be sure to follow the Living History Project with me on Twitter, and stay tuned here for more Game-Rave TV and Pause Mode. As always, have a great week, stay safe, and I'll see you next episode. Take care.